Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be here.
Today we're tackling fluid English listening.
A big one.
Yeah, we know lots of you want to decode fast speech and really master those tricky accents.
Right, make sense of English in the real world.
Exactly. So we've got tons of research and some expert advice to help you get there.
It's fascinating how our brains adapt to a new language, isn't it?
It really is.
Like when we're listening.
Yeah, I was reading that, we don't just process individual words one by one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but our brains are searching for patterns, using intonation and context to predict what's coming.
It's like solving a puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. Our brains are like little code breakers.
So cool.
Skilled listeners, they've developed this predictive processing ability, right?
Yeah, they can anticipate what's going to be said based on their experience with the language.
And the best part is,
Tell me.
we can develop it too.
You really can, yeah. That's reassuring because sometimes, to be honest, the speed and rhythm of English just feels overwhelming.
I get that.
Is it really possible to rewire our brains to keep up?
It is. Think of it like learning a new dance. Those 4 steps are a bit awkward.
Yeah.
You feel totally unfamiliar, but with practice, your brain starts picking up on those patterns.
Right.
And your body moves more smoothly. That's what we're aiming for with these techniques.
Okay, so let's get to those techniques.
Sounds good.
Our sources talk about top-down and bottom-up listening.
2 different approaches.
It sounds like 2 ways to solve the same puzzle.
It's a good way to put it. Imagine you're putting together a giant jigsaw puzzle.
Okay, I like this. I'm visual.
Okay, so top-down listening is like looking at that picture on the box first.
Ah, okay.
That's your context, the background knowledge.
So you use that big picture to guide you as you figure out where the pieces fit.
Exactly.
So if I'm listening to a news report, let's say about a topic I already know something about, I can use my knowledge to guess what they might say next. That's top-down.
Precisely. That's top-down.
Okay, and bottom-up?
Now, that focuses on each puzzle piece individually.
Okay.
It's all about the sounds, the grammar, every single word.
So it's really important for understanding the details.
Yeah, especially if you come across new words or difficult sentences.
So it's not picking one or the other, it's using both, right? Like having 2 sets of eyes on that puzzle, one on the big picture and one on the details.
Fluent listeners blend these approaches all the time, really seamlessly. Imagine you're in a business meeting.
Oh.
Understanding the meeting's context, the agenda, who's there, the company's goals. That's your top-down processing.
Okay.
But paying close attention to how the speaker's talking, their tone, which words they choose.
Right.
That's bottom-up.
Yeah.
You pick up on things that might not be said directly.
That's fascinating. It's like reading between the lines.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, that makes so much sense. And speaking of layers, I was really intrigued by this listening in layers technique.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like peeling an onion. You start with the outer layer, and then you work your way in.
It's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's such a good strategy for active listening, Begin with the overall picture. What's the main idea?
Get the main message.
Right. Then go back and focus on the details.
Okay, keywords.
Yeah. Specific facts, how the ideas are connected.
And then the last layer.
Then you get into the really subtle stuff.
You can look at the speaker's tone.
Right.
Their emotions, even what they're implying, but not saying directly.
Yes, like a 3D understanding.
Exactly.
And you can practice this with any podcast or audio clip.
Oh, cool.
Just listen multiple times, and each time focus on a different layer. You could even turn it into a game.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. So the first listen, just get the main topic.
Okay.
Second listen, see if you can find 3 key arguments or facts that support it. And then on the third listen, try to figure out how the speaker feels about the topic, their attitude.
I love that. That's such a cool way to make passive listening active. I'm going to try it.
Definitely.
Okay, now we can't talk about English listening without mentioning all the different accents, right?
Oh, of course not.
It's like this amazing musical instrument, but played in so many different styles.
Such a good analogy.
It's just incredible, the diversity.
It really shows how rich English is and how global.
Yeah, I love it's like having a passport to a whole world of sounds and rhythms.
It is.
But sometimes, I have to admit, those unfamiliar accents trip me up.
I understand. But honestly, the more you listen to different accents, the easier it gets.
Oh.
Your brain adapts and begins to recognize the patterns.
So how can we get more exposure?
Well, besides traveling the world.
Yeah, besides that.
Podcasts are amazing for that.
Oh, okay.
You can find podcasts from all over covering every topic imaginable.
Right.
Look for podcasts with hosts or guests from different countries or regions. And don't be afraid to try listening to accents that are harder for you to understand.
It's like building muscle, right? The more you challenge yourself,
Yes.
the stronger you become.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm inspired. I'm ready to branch out.
And YouTube's another great resource.
Of course, yeah.
Tons of diverse accents, interviews, documentaries, you name it.
The key is to make it a habit to expose ourselves to as many accents as possible.
That's it.
Podcasts, YouTube, mixing it up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good.
Now let's talk about some more active techniques.
Okay.
What about shadowing?
Oh, interesting one.
This one feels a bit like a vocal workout.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
It involves echoing what you hear from native speakers. So you listen closely to their pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, and try to copy it.
So it's a fun way to really get a feel for the natural flow of English.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's a great way to improve your pronunciation and get that rhythm.
Like borrowing fluency from native speakers.
Exactly, like you're right there with them.
I love that idea. It's like having a personal coach in your ear. Okay, now if shadowing is like vocal training, transcription is more like a detective game.
Oh, tell me more.
For your ears.
Yeah.
It's like listening and writing down exactly what you hear.
Right.
So you have to really pay attention to every little detail.
Every syllable.
Every pause.
Every single nuance.
So you're training your ear to catch things that might otherwise just go unnoticed.
That's right.
So it's not passive listening. It's actively decoding what you're hearing and then capturing it in writing.
Yes, it's like putting your listening skills under a microscope.
I like that.
You'll be amazed at how much more you pick up on.
Yeah, these techniques are so practical. I'm really feeling motivated.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, even small, consistent efforts can really make a huge difference in your listening.
I needed to hear that.
Yeah, small steps.
Before we move on to even more expert advice,
Okay.
let's just recap what we've covered.
Sounds good.
Okay, we talked about mixing top-down and bottom-up listening, using context, focusing on the details. We explored listening in layers,
Right.
starting with the big picture,
Yeah.
and then going deeper.
How they do those details.
And we discussed getting exposure to lots of different English accents through things like podcasts and YouTube.
Exactly.
And using active techniques like shadowing and transcription to train our ears and improve our pronunciation.
Yeah, lots of great tools.
This is already a pretty powerful toolkit for anyone wanting to improve their English listening.
It is.
Now let's get into some expert insights from a language acquisition specialist.
Oh, fantastic.
They have some really fascinating advice on how to immerse ourselves in English listening and accelerate our progress.
I can't wait to hear it. So, are you ready to really dive into some expert advice?
I am. I'm excited for this.
This could totally change how you think about listening in English.
We have a language acquisition specialist with us today.
That's right.
And they have some really interesting insights about common mistakes.
Oh, like what?
Mistakes that language learners make.
But
One of the biggest things they talked about was resisting that urge
the urge to...
to rely too much on subtitles or translating in our heads.
Oh, yeah, that's so tempting.
It is, especially when you feel stuck.
But the expert actually suggests that those habits,
Yeah.
they can really hold us back.
In the long run, yeah.
When you think about it, it makes sense. By translating all the time, we're not giving our brains the chance to just adapt to the natural flow
Right.
of the language.
So they really encourage listeners to embrace authentic English content.
Even if it's a little uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, like don't be afraid to watch a movie without subtitles, even if you have to guess what's going on.
Just from the context.
Exactly.
They compared it to jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Oh, I like that.
Instead of holding onto the side,
Okay.
you have to trust your instincts and just let yourself swim.
Okay, I love that analogy. Embrace the challenge. Yes,
Trust that your brain will figure it out.
it will.
Speaking of immersion,
Yes,
our expert had this great tip about surrounding yourself with English.
as much as possible.
They called it immersive listening.
I like that.
It's all about creating an environment
Uh-huh.
where you're constantly
Exposed to the language. Okay, so what does that look like?
podcasts, music, TV shows, audiobooks, even radio,
All in English.
all in English. And here's the key.
What's that?
Try to enjoy them without subtitles.
Whoa, that's tough.
I know, it sounds daunting.
Yeah.
But the expert believes this is where the real magic happens.
All they are listening.
When we take away those visual aids, our brains have to work harder to figure out the meaning from just the sound.
It makes sense.
It's like taking off the training wheels on a bike. Might feel shaky at first.
Yeah.
But once you get it,
you're off.
You'll be amazed at how much faster and more confidently you can go.
Absolutely.
Our expert also talked about the power of summarizing what you hear.
Oh, interesting.
It's like teaching it back to yourself to test if you really understood.
I remember doing that in school.
Me too. It makes you think about it, make connections.
So how'd that work?
So say you listen to a podcast episode.
Okay.
Instead of just letting it, go in one ear and out the other.
Right.
Take a few minutes to summarize the main points in your own words.
You could do it out loud or write it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like turning passive listening into active learning.
You're not just hearing it.
Yeah.
You're interacting with it, making it your own.
That's exactly it. That's the goal.
To go beyond just hearing English.
Yeah.
To actually understanding and internalizing it.
I'm starting to see how all these techniques work together.
Yeah, me too.
We're building all these layers of listening skills.
Right, from the basic sounds to the meaning.
To actively engaging with the information.
And the good news is, even small efforts, if you do them regularly, can make a big difference.
That's so encouraging.
We all have busy lives, but even just 15, 20 minutes a day of focused listening practice.
It can have a big impact over time.
The key is to make it a regular habit. Something you enjoy, something you look forward to.
Like your daily dose of English vitamins for your brain.
I like that. And there are so many great resources out there.
There are.
Podcasts, audiobooks, language learning apps.
No excuses.
So are you ready to put all these techniques into practice and unlock those secrets to fluent English listening?
Let's do it.
I'm excited to guide you on this journey.
Me too.
And see how you progress.
We've covered a lot today.
We have.
The science of listening, practical techniques, and insights from a language expert.
But before we wrap up,
Okay.
let's just recap those core strategies that can help you become a more confident and fluent English listener.
Okay, go for it.
First, remember to blend top-down and bottom-up listening.
Right.
Use your background knowledge and the situation to help you predict what you'll hear. But also pay attention to the specific sounds, words, and grammar.
That's important.
Embrace the idea of listening in layers. Start with the big picture, the main idea, the overall message.
Yes.
Then dig deeper into the details, the facts, the connections.
Love it.
And lastly, tune into those more subtle things like the speaker's tone,
Right.
their emotions, and what they might be implying.
So much to pay attention to.
Don't be afraid to try listening to different English accents.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone.
The more you expose yourself to different ways of speaking, the better your ears will become at adapting.
And make active listening a regular thing.
Yes, make it a habit.
Incorporate things like shadowing and transcription.
To really sharpen your pronunciation and comprehension.
You've got a great toolkit now.
You do.
It's time to put it to work and watch your English fluency soar.
Okay, but before we send you off on this exciting adventure, we have one final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, I love a good question.
Now that you've learned all these techniques, what's one small change
Just one.
that you will make today?
To start improving.
Your English listening.
Take a moment to think about it.
Let it motivate you.
Let this deep dive be what sparks a real transformation.
To your listening skills.
We believe that with dedication and the right approach, you can reach your goals.
Remember, every step you take,
Every single one.
no matter how small, brings you closer to fluency.
So embrace this journey.
Enjoy the rewards of becoming
a skilled
and confident English listener.
We're so excited for you.
It really does make you think.
It does, doesn't it?
What one small change will you make?
Yeah.
And it reminds us that even small steps, if we take them regularly, can lead to big changes.
Huge changes.
In our English listening.
Definitely.
We've covered so much in this deep dive.
I know, it's been a lot.
The science behind how our brains process what we hear, the different ways we can approach listening,
Right.
and so many practical techniques.
And we got to hear from an expert.
We did. That was awesome.
Really interesting insights.
It's all about finding what works for you and making it a habit.
Yeah, find what you enjoy.
So what will your first step be?
Ooh, good question.
Maybe you could commit to listening to an English podcast.
Oh, I like that.
Every day during your commute.
Yeah, every day.
Or maybe you'll try shadowing a native speaker for a few minutes each evening.
While you're cooking dinner.
Exactly.
Multitasking.
Whatever you choose, remember, consistency is key.
It really is.
Make English listening a habit, something you enjoy, and you'll be surprised how quickly you improve.
Absolutely. And with practice, it becomes more and more fun.
That's the best part.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into unlocking fluent English listening.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new today.
We hope you feel inspired.
And are ready to take your listening skills to a whole new level.
We know you can do it.
Until next time, happy listening.
Bye, everyone.